Beginning a life is about making a choice, not about a certain age or point in time. You know, a lot of us wait for the ideal moment, the ideal combination of circumstances, or a turning point in our lives. A little bit of good fortune to motivate us to take action, but I can assure you that there is no ideal moment. The secret to understanding that taking action is the cure to waiting is the first step towards living a meaningful life. How do you start wisely? By realizing that your decisions now will determine how you live in the future. Possess the capacity to create a life that is disciplined, fulfilling, and purposeful, but it takes dedication that you cannot afford. You must first alter your own thinking, starting with self-awareness, if you want the world to change. Never accept less than what you are capable of. Increase your efforts rather than your life, and never reduce your expectations. Will be a reflection of your efforts. Success is not guaranteed, but it is always possible for those who are prepared to put in the necessary effort. Don't allow today's distractions define you. Instead, concentrate on what really matters to succeed and build the life you want. Isn't about your possessions. Rather, it's about who you become along the way. Life starts the minute you decide to take control of your life. Don't wait for approval or the ideal time. Simply get started. The strength of individual accountability, current obstacles. It is your role to accept responsibility for conquering them rather than avoiding them. Without objectives, you lack direction. Establish clear, quantifiable goals that will lead you to the life you want and encourage you to grow every day. Learn something new, broaden your horizons, and develop your character. Success isn't only about talent, it's also about the outcome of focused work. Establish routines that support your objectives, and others around you will either. Your time is your most important resource, so surround yourself with people that challenge and inspire you. Asset, don't squander it, and take advantage of every chance to advance. Growth is unavoidable, so don't allow fear control your actions. Instead, take initiative, and your potential will become apparent. Life won't always be simple, but persistence is the secret to success. When once you hit your first milestone, the road doesn't finish. Keep going when you're knocked down. The most crucial choice is to adapt, develop, and learn. Success is a continuous process. The choice to begin is the most important one you will ever make in life. You may speak about your plans for the rest of your life, imagining the life you desire or contemplating all the things you might do, but none of it counts unless you create the decision to take action rather than waiting for the ideal situation or time to present itself. The ideal time is when you decide to start, and the correct moment is right now. Is often the most difficult aspect, and most individuals get preoccupied with the idea that they must have everything worked out before they do the first step. But in reality, you won't have all the answers. You don't need to be aware of every detail. Is the bravery to proceed even if you don't know where you're going. It's about making the decision to take the first step, and having faith that you'll work out the rest as you go. The first step is to take out the most individuals never start because they are afraid of failing. Although errors are a necessary part of the journey, are lessons rather than barriers. Each failure is a chance to improve your strategy and to become more resilient. Beginning isn't about being flawless, but rather about being prepared to work hard, take chances, and face the unknown. And the most crucial thing to realize is that you are creating that moment by making the choice rather than waiting for life to provide it to you. Starting is what gets things started, and once you make the decision to do so, the momentum increases. Opportunities begin to arise, new paths open up in front of you, but it all starts with clearly defined objectives for your new life. Until you take the first step, that one easy choice to begin the journey will never be evident. So decide now. and begin creating the life you've always wanted. Since success is based on accepting responsibility, you must recognize that everything in your life, including where you are at this now, what you own, and who you are, is directly related to the decisions you have made. Situations don't define you. How you react to them does. It's simple to place the blame on your upbringing and the outside world, where you are, your surroundings, or even other people. But let me tell you something. The instant you take full, you cannot be a victim and expect to do anything when you take charge of your life, because everything changes. Your choices, your triumphs and setbacks. You take back command of your destiny and stop waiting on others to alter things for you. You understand that you have the ability to choose your own fate, which implies you no longer create excuses. You no longer blame your situation on the government, the economy, or your history. This is where I am because of the choices I've made, and this is where I'll go because of the choices I'll make from here on, you remark as you gaze into the mirror. Taking responsibility entails a mental change that gives you the ability to act. Taking control of your time, habits, and attitude entails understanding that you can overcome. You can't control everything, but you can always control how you react to each obstacle that arises in order to develop, adapt, and progress. To your circumstances, it's about choosing to be proactive rather than reactive and creating. Instead of, when you accept responsibility, you stop searching for quick routes and waiting for the ideal opportunity. When the ideal opportunity or person arrives to make things right, you take over as the one who does it, takes intentional, focused action each day, even when it's challenging, and fully owns your objectives and your results, understanding that the road to success isn't lined with justifications, but rather with dedication, perseverance, and accountability. So quit waiting for the ideal combination of circumstances to come your way and take charge of your own path. The power is in your hands, and you have all you need to start where you are with what you have in the future. Without defined objectives, the most crucial step you will ever take in forming your life is to establish them. You resemble a ship without a rudder that is aimlessly cruising without knowing where it is or how to get there. As you can see, objectives are more than simply pleasant concepts to consider. They serve as your success blueprint and provide you with direction and purpose and guidance. Without them, you're squandering time and effort, and the days will pass you by without your knowledge. First and foremost, you must realize that your objectives must be clear. You cannot just state, "I want to be successful" or "I want to be happy," but that's too nebulous. Until you define success, it has no meaning. The significance of habits for achievement look like to you: a career accomplishment, a financial milestone, or personal development. What do you hope to achieve, and by when? If your objectives aren't obvious, your actions won't be either. Once your goals are clear, you must divide them into more achievable, smaller stages. While huge objectives are admirable, they are useless if you don't know how to get there. Might be daunting, so instead of focusing on the mountain as a whole, consider each step individually and decide what to do next. You may do one action today to get closer to your objective. After that, you'll make little progress. But the important thing is to put your objectives in writing rather than simply keeping them in your. Simply putting them in paper makes goals real and binds you to them, and when you go over them often, you remember your dedication and purpose by writing down your objectives, which keeps you on course even when you run across problems or diversions. Let's discuss the power of deadlines. Without a deadline, a goal is only a dream. You need a schedule to work inside. You will lack the urgency and pressure necessary to motivate yourself to act if there is no deadline. Keeps you motivated and responsible by compelling you to take the first step and all subsequent ones. Last but not least, If your objectives are based on what means most to you, they will be in line with your values. Will motivate you to act consistently when your objectives align with your innermost aspirations, and your dedication will maintain your strength, and you'll be motivated to work hard every day since you'll know that your objectives are worthwhile. Is more than simply making a list. It's about establishing a vision for your life, figuring out what you want, and then choose to pursue it. You cannot leave your destiny up to chance. You must choose your path. There will be no restrictions on what you may accomplish if you go ahead and map out your plan. May attain personal growth, which is essential to releasing your potential if you so want. The first step in creating a successful, fulfilled and happy life is understanding who you are. Being the world will provide you with many diversions and excuses to not develop, but let me tell you the finest. The daily investment you make in yourself is the one you'll ever make. Thus, you should be working to become a little more better than you were the day before. Personal growth is a continuous process rather than a final goal, about continuously developing your character, abilities, and mindset. The person you become is much more significant than what you now possess, since your identity will dictate the extent of your potential and the extent of your progress. Jim Rohn's fundamental ideas. The most effective instrument you have is your thoughts, but most people ignore it. Your mind will create what you give it. If you feed it negativity, doubt, and justifications, that's what you'll receive. However, if you fill it with constructive thoughts, information, and solutions, you'll start to spend time every day nourishing your intellect with books, podcasts, seminars, and other materials to avoid roadblocks and instead focus on possibilities. Knowledge is power, and the more you study, the more you will gain in terms of your mental, emotional, and financially. But personal growth takes more than just information. It's about putting that knowledge into practice. You may study all the books in the world, but you won't develop if you don't use what you've learned. The true power arises when you put what you've learned into practice, start incorporating new concepts into your life, make adjustments, and track your development. Comes from accomplishing more personal development, which also include taking care of your body rather than from learning more. Your life's engine. If you disregard it, you're undermining your chances of success. Make time for take care of your mental and emotional well-being. Exercise, eat healthily, get enough sleep, and when your body feels well, your life begins to improve when your mind is clear, and you may then learn how to setting low expectations for oneself limits your potential, which is the key to developing beyond having high standards for yourself. Because of your present situation, you will demand excellence from yourself rather than others, the best version of yourself, not perfection. Don't accept mediocrity. Instead, push yourself to go above and beyond. Putting in more effort and raising your expectations will be one of the most significant factors in determining how well your life turns out. Discipline is a component of human growth. Without it, all of the world's information and concepts are dreams come true via pointless discipline, which is about doing tasks even when you don't feel like it. Don't feel like it. It's about putting forth the effort every day without searching for quick routes. Discipline is the muscle that, in the end, surrounds victory. Your surroundings greatly affect your personal development when you surround yourself with individuals that push you to improve. Development. You can never realize your greatest potential if you surround yourself with individuals who don't encourage you to improve, people that inspire you, possess what you want, and can demonstrate a better method for you to learn from and emulate them and allow them to change the way you think. Personal growth is a continuous pursuit rather than a one-time occurrence. You begin to die the minute you stop developing, so make a daily commitment to improving yourself. How to keep change moving forward. Push yourself to the maximum and broaden your horizons, because the better you become, the better your life will be. Discipline is the best present you can give yourself, because it connects where you are and where you aspire to go. Without it, all of your aspirations, thoughts, and desires would be in vain. You may have all the knowledge, skill, and potential, but you won't ever reach your full potential if you lack discipline. Discipline is what makes your dreams come true and converts idle thoughts into purposeful action. It's simple to feel energized about a new objective and experience the first rush of drive, but motivation on its own is insufficient. Discipline is what keeps you going and gets you out of bed when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the key when things become difficult, when the thrill wears off, and when the benefits take time to materialize. Capacity to do out necessary tasks even when you don't feel like it, which distinguishes individuals who succeed and those who don't. Whether you are aware of it or not, you make decisions every day. The decision to remain or choose the easy or difficult route, to labor hard or take the shortcut. Discipline is the decision to do what's difficult at the time because you want to be comfortable or push yourself beyond your comfort zone. When life's distractions attempt to drag you away from your goal, trust that it will ultimately pay off. Naturally, it involves concentrating on the task that needs to be done and fighting the temptation to give in to the things that hold you back. Will help you advance. Discipline is about being consistent rather than being flawless. About putting up your best effort every day, even when it seems like the progress is being made slowly, or, over time, inconspicuous little acts that are repeatedly performed have enormous outcomes. And those who grow discipline in their life recognize that success is a sequence of intentional activities rather than a single act that compound over time. Developing discipline begins with establishing explicit promises. You decide for yourself that this is what I want to do and that I'm prepared to work hard to make it happen. Then you follow through on whatever you do, create a framework and a routine, and you adhere to it. You don't let your feelings should not control your behavior. Instead, you should do the task at hand without waiting for the ideal moment or state of mind. Conclusion and upcoming actions. It's crucial to realize that discipline is a talent, just like any other, even when you don't feel like it. Requires repetition. The more you do it, the more powerful it becomes. Initially, it may be difficult to avoid distractions or make the correct decisions on a regular basis, but eventually your self-control will come naturally. Saying no to things that don't benefit you and yes to things that advance your goals will be simpler for you. Long-term objectives and dedication are what will make you stand out. The most brilliant or talented people don't always succeed. Success comes to those who can maintain their commitment, attention, and discipline when they embrace discipline. You are establishing the groundwork for your success by prioritizing long-term benefit above immediate gratification, and the discipline will lead to rewards, and freedom allows you to design the life you choose. The ability to transcend your constraints, go over the things that are in your way, and do things that other people believed were impossible. But if you become disciplined, you'll discover that your destiny is in your hands and your potential is boundless. You've undoubtedly heard that one of the most effective things you can do for your success is to establish a strong network. Let me tell you, the adage, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," is not just a cliché. It's a fundamental reality about the people in your life. They will either push you to be better or allow you to settle for mediocrity. They will either encourage you or bring you down. Therefore, you must carefully pick the people you surround yourself with if you want to live a life of success, satisfaction, and progress. Your network consists of more than simply the individuals you know. It's a circle of influence that has the ability to influence your choices, deeds, and future. The individuals in your network should be people that encourage you, push you to develop, question your assumptions, and really care about your success. You'll discover that you begin to emulate those qualities in others when you surround yourself with individuals who are dedicated to excellence, achievement, and personal development. Finding individuals who are where you want to go is the first step in creating a powerful network. Look for individuals that have already attained the same level of success as you if you want to succeed in business. Attempting to connect with people who are currently leading with integrity if you want to improve as a leader and goal. Locate seasoned and successful mentors, coaches and colleagues, and get knowledge from them. You may prevent expensive errors and accelerate your success with their expertise, insights and counsel, but don't merely search for individuals who are in front of you, and look for people who are on the same path as you. When you establish connections with peers who are working towards success together, you foster a feeling of unity, and you may support, encourage, and exchange ideas. This kind of reciprocal assistance is crucial because when things go difficult, it's the individuals who are having people by your side who will support you is important. Developing a solid network is about more than simply what other people can do for you. Successful networks are based on reciprocal respect, generosity, and value. It's really about what you can provide them as well. If you want others to put money into you, you have to be prepared to do the same. Relationships provide you with support, information sharing, and the opportunity to be sincere in your desire to see others succeed. When you generously contribute without expecting anything in return, you foster an atmosphere of trust, and networking is also about being reciprocal. The more solid your ties, the more robust your network. Purposeful. You must be proactive, attend events, and participate in activities rather than merely showing up and expecting things to happen. Talks engage individuals and provide chances for connection, but don't just concentrate on quantity. Creating really meaningful relationships is more important than gathering business cards or adding people to your list. Connections. Don't take quick routes. Instead, use time and effort to building your network. Maintaining such connections is key to creating a strong network. A network is only useful if you take care of it and remain in contact with the check-in with others in your circle. Provide them encouragement, and be dependable in your communication. Keep your network alive, Zrenia, and don't allow it fade into a forgotten list of names. The individuals you choose to surround yourself with will influence your prospects and provide you with possibilities. They will provide you with resources and information that you would not have on your own, and more significantly, they will assist you in developing in ways you never would have thought possible. Spend time creating a network of people who share your values, aspirations, and ambitions. Make investments in connections that will encourage you to reach your full potential. Once you do, you'll discover that success isn't just about what you. Time is your most precious resource. It's the one thing that once you know who you are and how you develop together. Although time is something you can never get back, most people approach it as if it never ends and waste it on diversions, procrastination, and pursuits that fail to advance their objectives. If you want to create a prosperous existence, you need to become proficient in time management. It's not about obtaining more time, but rather about maximizing the. You must first realize that every minute of your life is a piece of time. You can always earn more money, but you can't produce more, so why squander a minute of your life that you will never get back? Time, therefore, being proficient in time management is more than simply a talent. It's a means of realizing your full potential. Setting clear priorities is the first step in treating it like the minute counts. Not every work that needs your attention is equally crucial. Some can help you get closer to. You must learn to say no to things that don't align with your objectives, since there are others who will merely take up your time. Accept the things that will have the greatest influence, and concentrate on the tasks that are consistent with your top priorities. If anything doesn't fit with your beliefs or aims, it shouldn't be included. Making a plan in advance is one of the best strategies to manage your time. Successful individuals organize their days and don't let anything happen to them. Instead, they arrange their time. Examine what has to be done the night before and make sure you have enough time for each activity. With a plan, you can start each day off well by knowing precisely what to concentrate on and avoiding. Being distracted by other things is another aspect of time management. Distractions from social media, emails, and alerts are more prevalent than ever in today's society, yet you cannot afford to ignore them all. Allow them to rule your life. You need to set limits and turn them off. Alerts during moments of concentrated work. Establish designated times for checking social media and emails when you work while you're unwinding. But keep your concentration and avoid letting the lines blur. Another important time factor is that work without continuous interruptions will always be more productive than dispersed, distracted effort. No matter how talented or diligent you are, management is about how to delegate, since you cannot do everything alone. If there are any chores that are best left to others, surround yourself with competent individuals who can jobs that don't call for your special set of abilities, which allows you to concentrate on the things that have a significant impact. Delegating is a show of wisdom and an acknowledgement that you can accomplish your most essential objectives. Collaborate with people to achieve more than if you do everything alone. It's also essential to being time-disciplined means setting and adhering to deadlines. This is what guarantees that you remain on schedule and avoid wasting time. Without self-control, it's simple to slip into the procrastination trap or uncertainty. You need to remain unrelenting in your quest for effectiveness and avoid becoming comfortable with time wakes up for nobody if you have unproductive habits or delays. So make sure you use it constantly. Being able to say no is one of the most effective time management skills. The more you say yes to things that don't fit your objectives, the less time you have for the things that really count. You must treat your time as a valuable resource, which entails declining invitations, chances, and demands. Things don't fulfill your purpose. Don't be scared to say no, even if it makes you uncomfortable. In the end, mastering time management is about establishing a framework that prevents you from saying yes to the important. It enables you to maximize each day. It's about consistency, discipline, and setting priorities when you take charge of your life, not just your time. You are in charge of it, and you decide when you effectively manage your time, you'll discover that you have more time for the things that are most important to you, such as your family, your health, your hobbies, and your dreams. The world's most prosperous individuals are aware of this idea. They don't waste time, and they are where they are because every minute counts, and you can do the same. When you conquer time, you master your future. We all experience fear from time to time. It's a normal part of life. But here's the thing. It's important to realize that fear need not rule you, prevent you from following your goals, or realizing your potential. Despite the fact that fear is unavoidable, you can learn to deal with it, and once you can, real development starts at that point. Dread is often brought on by the unknown. We dread the things we don't comprehend, or what we are ill-prepared for, which is a fear of making errors, of failing, of being rejected, of being judged. But every successful person you look up to has had similar anxieties, but they choose not to let them stop them, used it as fuel, and they nonetheless took action, which distinguished those who. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is straightforward. It's not a lack of fear, but rather the capacity to go in spite of. The first step in overcoming your fear is realizing that it is just a feeling and not a reality. Describe your identity or your capabilities. Fear is only an indication that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, which is just where you should be. If you never confront your anxieties, you won't be able to progress without suffering. You never know what lies beyond your present circumstances, and fear keeps you there, but bravery is what propels you ahead now. I understand that confronting your concerns is difficult. It takes bravery, and determination is the ability to act despite your heart pounding and your mind urging you to stop. Every time you face your fear head-on, it becomes easier, and you gain confidence and start to recognize that fear is something to be embraced rather than avoided. Consider the things you are afraid of. The most is speaking in front of an audience, launching a new company, and taking a chance on the truth. Dread often reflects your priorities. The things you dread are typically the ones that will be most helpful. As you develop, the secret is to face them with a growth-oriented mentality and realize that fear is just a confront, a barrier that, if surmounted, would provide greater benefits. This is one of the most effective strategies to overcome fear. Divide things into smaller, more manageable stages. If you're afraid, don't attempt to tackle everything at once. Speaking in public, start small, maybe with a small group of people, or even attempt speaking in front of thousands of people. Simply exercising in front of a mirror reduces the control that fear has over you. The more you confront fear, the less power it has. Little dosages, the better equipped you'll be to handle more difficult situations. Another crucial step is altering your viewpoint. Instead of seeing fear as a bad thing, start seeing it as a sign that you need to improve. It's an indication that you're pushing yourself to reach new heights, and that you're not. The difference between the ordinary and the exceptional is settling for the usual dread. Extraordinary people embrace fear rather than run from it because they understand that there is something bigger than themselves on the other side. Envisioned, you also need to realize that failing is a normal part of the process. The idea of failure often causes dread. However, failure is something to be learnt from rather than something to be avoided. Every setback teaches you something worthwhile, and it's through setbacks that you develop resilience. The fear of failure is only an issue if you let it prevent you from having the qualities and knowledge that lead to success. Tempting, but if you confront it and press on nevertheless, you may transform that fear into motivation and ultimately remember that you are. Everyone encounters fear, but successful individuals don't let it stop them. Instead, they employ as a stepping stone to success. The important thing is to keep going, regardless of how little the steps are. Every action you facing your concerns head-on is a success. The more you do so, the more you demonstrate to yourself that you are. Fear is not the adversary. Rather, it is only a message indicating what you are capable of managing. Must confront in order to develop. Don't let it to rule you. Instead, face it, overcome it, and go on. On the other side, you'll discover the achievement, contentment, and development you've been aiming for. Regardless matter how gifted, prepared, or motivated you are, they are a part of life and happen to everyone. Unavoidable, but the important thing to remember is that setbacks don't mean that you're unable or that no failures should deter you. They are only stepping stones on the way to. When you encounter obstacles in life, how you handle them will define your destiny. It's simple to become depressed. You may believe that your efforts have been in vain or that you're not making any progress. If you're caught in a bad frame of mind, you may move on and concentrate on finding solutions. Choosing your next course of action, Cultivate the conviction that failures are transitory and that achievement is still achievable. Your attitude defines your altitude. Thus, keep in mind that failures are temporary until you allow them to be. The most successful individuals are able to endure the most trying situations and continue when others lose up. By persevering despite failures, you demonstrate to the world, and more importantly to yourself, that you are capable of need to succeed. Each time you overcome a setback, you get stronger, smarter, and more equipped for the next one. Challenge, so don't be afraid of failures. Instead, welcome them as a sign that you're in the game. They're an indication that you're stretching yourself, developing your skills, and moving closer to your objectives. Keep going. Continue pushing and persevering because your achievement lies beyond those disappointments. Even while working for the road may not always be simple, it will be worthwhile if you keep going no matter what.